That's awesome. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I am James Haskell. That is Glenn Martin chugging in 2 gallons of moonshine. We are here on a Tuesday night to. Oh, it's actually not.
It's 32 ounces.
Okay, that's I thought it was a 64 ounce. That thing that you can like curl while you're at work. You know what I'm saying? You get like a workout. Yeah, but no, we're excited on Tuesday night as we do normally to break down the victory, of course, the Ravens had. Talk about the coaches' reactions. Now we've had some time, some film breakdown with Coach Evans, some Sip2Tally, which will be exciting. We'll talk about snap counts, other things, everything under the sun, and then of course we'll start to transition on to week 4. But before we do, we gotta, of course, as always, give a shout out to our great partners and sponsors of the show, the ones that keep the lights on. Our buddies over at BetOnline. Glenn's got some stuff that's going on he wants to talk about. So, Glenn, what is going on, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on while the games are being played. If you think you know your stuff, get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. When the games are over, head on over to the online casino, get in a hand of blackjack, some poker, or play one of over 150 different slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
Let's go. I got a lot to talk to, Glenn, but at the top of the list, we got to talk about a former Raven. I think a bit surprising of a return, and that being Yannick Ngakoue. That took focus and effort to properly say, so I'm going to pat myself on the back. But he's back in Ravens purple, ladies and gentlemen, the pass rush expert himself. Glenn, how you feeling about this signing?
Well, like you said, surprised was my first reaction because, look, this is a homecoming. He played his college days at University of Maryland. He was a Terp. He was born in Bowie. So it's a homecoming. But we've seen him here before. In 2020, he spent much of the season here with us, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 11 total tackles, but just didn't seem like a fit here, right? Like, just felt like a fish out of the water here. And part of that is that he's strictly a pass rusher, has no interest in participating in the run game. Even when he was at his prime and the height of his career, when he was a double-digit sack guy, he had no interest in participating in the run game. So I think that may have rubbed some of the fans and coaches the wrong way here, that he's strictly a pass rusher. But now I guess with the price tag, what it is, and the fact that they're able to just simply add him to the practice squad and have a very low risk deal, they decide, let's see what he's got from a pass rush standpoint at this point in his career. A guy who's had 69 career sacks thus far, has had career highs of 12. Let's see, he had 12 sacks his second year in 2017. He had a 10-sack season in 2021, and he had 2 9.5-sack seasons in 2018 and 2022. So definitely a guy who can get to the passer. But last year, he had 4 sacks last year, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily going to be proud of his performance last year. In fact, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was the 4th lowest rated pass rusher in the entire league last year, according to PFF, getting a grade of 29 in his pass rush. So I don't want people thinking this is the old Yannick Ngakoue that they're getting. This is an older player here that they're getting. Actually, I'm sorry. So yeah, 4th lowest graded pass rusher. 47 was his grade among all edge players who played a minimum of 20% of their team's snaps. So by the same metric, by the way, he was the 3rd worst run defender, graded as a 37.7 run defender. So last year is not going to instill any confidence in him as a player. But I guess this is what do you have to lose? Low risk, high, maybe potentially decent reward.
That's exactly how I see it, Glenn. I think it's an opportunity for the Ravens to buy low and see what sort of potential they have. If any of you guys are familiar, this is a Robin Hood stocks buy, right? Like anybody that messes around on Robin Hood, that's like, I got some expendable cash. I'll have some fun. Buy some. A few years ago, I bought some stocks and some what's the word? What's the proper word for weed? Not marijuana. That starts with an I.
Cannabis.
Cannabis starts with a C. Some cannabis. production companies. And I did okay. I just did it because it was fun, and I thought regulation was moving the right way. And so I was like, what the heck? I'm going to buy low. That's Yannick Ngakoue, right? It's like, what the heck? I mean, we're buying so low at this point. See what we can get out of them. I mean, don't you agree?
Yeah, and of course the corresponding move, they cut Joe Evans, another popular guy in the preseason who played all those snaps, captain at Iowa. They cut him to make room. So it's practice squad, but how long do you think, like what's the timetable if things go well for Yannick? If he's impressing the coaches, how early could we see him on the big boy roster?
Yeah, that's a really tough question for me. I think 2 weeks? Or is that too long?
No,
No,
he just got here. So
yeah.
I think this
It all depends on what shape he's in, don't you think?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's got to be in game shape. And the question I have also is like, what's the motivation? I mean, you'd think that the motivation would be, let's see how much I got left. Let's see how many more years, how many more contracts I can get out of this. But he's an older guy. He's accomplished a lot. I just hope that he has some fire, because if he's motivated, I think he could add something as a situational pass rusher.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the timing could be right because, just like you said, there's a lot of leverage, there's a lot of pressure on him to continue to. Obviously, he wants to extend his career, make as much money as he can, and the light could be at the end of the tunnel for it, right? This could be what some people consider maybe one of his last stops if things don't go the way that he needs them to go. So, yeah, it's an exciting opportunity for the Ravens, I think, an exciting opportunity for him. But last thing I want to get to, Glenn, before we have Coach on, I had something that how did I just forget? Shoot. I had something up and now I forgot. Oh, how about the Bengals being 0-3? That's awesome. How happy are you about that?
Love to see it. Also, in that game, first time, I think, since 1940 that neither team punted and neither team had a turnover in an NFL game.
Whoo. Yeah, and that quarterback. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I think we were both right on the quarterback drafts this year. You really liked Jaden out of LSU. I was a bit skeptical because he played bad against the Utes, but I should always take that with a grain of salt because it is the Utes. At the end of the day, though, Caleb Williams.
You're nailing it so far. You said he was overrated. You said all the things. And, I mean, look, it's very early in his career, but Jaden Daniels, let me just tell you guys this because it blew my mind. This stat. In Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Pat Mahomes have a combined like 1,027 starts, including the playoffs in their combined careers. They have 3 games combined between those in those 1,027 starts where their team scored on every session. Jaden Daniels has 2 of those games in 3 starts.
Dude, just insane.
That is and that throw he hit
to Terry,
dude. Holy, like that was insane. I mean, yeah, this kid is special, man.
Yeah, no kidding. It's weird to say that I'm generally ambivalent about the Commanders and they had bad ownership, so I didn't like them, but I'm actually kind of excited for Commanders fans just because they put up with a lot, you know? And so it's exciting to see them balling out and doing well and, with a bit of a future there.
I didn't think it would happen this quick, man. I thought the rebuild would take a little longer. Damn it.
Yeah.
They're too close to home, man.
Well, it's the NFC. That's okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, but look, without any further ado, we want to bring in Coach Evans. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff with him, break down this game, what he saw that got him excited. I'm excited to talk to him about the O-line and otherwise. Coach, how you doing? Honorary member of the show, celebrity member of the show, saved our show last week. Thank you very much. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing so good. Glad that Glenn's back. Glad that the internet issues aren't happening. Knock on wood. But Coach, want to get your thoughts on a few things here. John Harbaugh says that the O-line took a step forward. Now, a big run that Derrick Henry broke was behind Faalele. Everyone's been all over him. He seems to be a lightning rod. What was your take on the O-line play of this game? Anything got you excited or feeling optimistic about it?
They were better, but they were not. The right side was not good. They were better, but I got about between 9 and 12 clips of 77 just being a goofball. But they were better. It's like you take a pop quiz and you make a 30, and then the teacher lets you take it again and you make a 55. You still didn't pass, but you did better.
Oh,
dang, coach.
But
That hurts to hear.
I give Todd and Derrick more credit than I give that right side. Todd did a better job of play calling to their strengths, with the little strengths that they have, and Derrick did a great job of cutting and running hard and whatnot. Now I will say there are some runs, and I even mentioned his name in some videos where the Faalele did do some good things, and on some certain plays. But as overall, I don't think he did. Like, if I was grading, he probably wouldn't have had like a good grade. But I think Munkin did a good job of not calling power and counter, which requires them to move people off the point. We ran a lot of outside zone. We ran stuff away from them where they can be the cutback people, where they don't have to like move people. They just got to get in front and get their hat on a hat and let Derrick Henry kind of cut and let the defense be wrong. And so that was a good job by Munkin to do that and allow those guys to be better. And honestly, I do think Faalele played better than Macari. I do, but to Macari's advantage, Macari dealt with Michael Parsons a lot more than Faalele dealt with any of the other guys. So take that with a grain of salt. But grade wise, Faalele played better than Macari, but Macari dealt with Michael Parsons a lot more than Faalele dealt with anybody else. And then talking with a Cowboys YouTuber that played for me in high school, Mozzie Smith has played terrible all year, and that's the guy that they were moving constantly. And then the second half, they replaced him with somebody else, and they didn't move him as much. And that's when a lot of the stuff started looking similar to what we had been seeing in the past.
And that's a bit concerning, Coach. Now, also, were you surprised, and what do you think the thought process was that went into the fact that Macari played 100% of right tackle snaps? What did Rosengarten do or not do?
I think the fact that we all like Public and Howie Long and
Chris Long
and Chris Long and John Gruden and everybody on ESPN and everybody on Fox and all the YouTubers was trying to tell John what to do, and he was like a big F you. I'm gonna do what I want. And so he played that man the whole time.
He said, look, there's gonna be some changes. And then surprised with changes we didn't want, Coach. And then he goes, and then just to add insult to injury, he threw Ben Cleveland in for one snap.
He did. Yeah. That was a troll job.
I still haven't found the snap yet, and I've been looking at all 22. I
think it was a touchdown, wasn't it? It was a goal line touchdown. Derrick Henry's the short run that he had.
And I looked at it on PFF, and it had it said he was at center, and I know that's not true.
No, I don't think he was at center.
PFF had him at center.
Yeah, I mean, on the snap count, I had him at guard, but I to your point, I haven't rewatched and made sure I actually saw it. I'm taking a bit of their word for it, but I mean, did Rosengarten, in your opinion, who's the better right tackle for this team if it was a full-time job, Macari or Rosengarten?
I'm gonna say Rosengarten, but I mean, Macari's getting all the snaps, and he has the bigger sample size. But just off of potential, I'm gonna say Rosengarten, but potential will get you fired.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a tough question to answer, because Rosengarten got all the tape out. I mean, I'm sorry, Macari has all the tape out there, and he's done some good. And Rosengarten has potential, and he has those good snaps versus Max Crosby, but potential to get you fired. But he do have good snaps versus Max Crosby. He did, and his very first snap was horrible versus Chris Jones.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough. It's tough. And I think it's Rosengarten, but I'm not there every day at practice.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, Coach, I got to ask you, let's stay on the offensive side of the ball, specific to the rush attack. You said they did some things, and Munkin seemed to do a better job calling the play, calling it to the favor of the Ravens. How excited were you to see Derrick Henry get loose, man, and really have an opportunity for us to? So I have a two-part question.
Mm-hmm.
How excited were you to see Derrick, right? And what we were able to do with that. And then what we talked about in our post-game show was like, how disappointing was it at the same time to not see us take advantage of that hard work in the second half and do some more bootleg stuff, and things like that, right? Some play action things. So 2-part question there, but curious to get to know your thoughts there.
So I was really excited to see us in the pistol and under center as much as we was, and to see Derrick, run some outside zone and inside zone, especially get one of those patented Derrick stiff arms. That really, got me going and excited to see that. We got a boot, I think, early in the game to Kolar that really had me excited, and I think we only got one more the rest of the game, which kind of had me puzzled. I can't remember too much traditional like play action, so that had me baffled as to why we didn't do that. But maybe it was because we was running it so good. But I think we still should have came to it somewhere in the second half when the offense kind of was stalling out. But I think we're setting the table to be able to do some of that Sunday night. I hope that's what we're doing, setting the table to be able to do some of that Sunday night, because we're going to have to. The offense is going to have to stay on the field Sunday night to keep the Bills offense off the field. But I was extremely excited to see Derrick get loose and to get his bearings about him. Because if we can just keep guys off of him before he gets to the line of scrimmage, no DBs want to tackle that dude. Only people that's cool with tackling him are defensive linemen and a few linebackers. No DBs want any action with Derrick Henry. And if we can get him clean and get him ahead of steam going up to the linebackers and DBs, he's going to get extra yardage because they don't want to tackle him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We need to see that guy running into the second and third levels a lot more often. But one thing that really shocked me, Coach, watching the game, and then certainly when the snap counts were revealed, if I were to tell you that everyone's healthy and in the tight end room, we're going to see Isaiah Likely outsnap Mark Andrews by double digits. We're going to see Patrick Ricard outsnap him by 11 snaps. And we're going to even see Charlie Kolar outsnap Mark Andrews by 5 snaps. How surprised would you be if I told you that?
Likely, I would not be surprised. Kolar and Pat, definitely. I think Mark's not as healthy as we think he is. I think I might have heard you say it, that the collision was head on, his accident.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Mark is not as healthy as we think he is, and that's why he's not getting as much play as we think. Or just like we don't see what happens with the O-line in practice, Likely just outplaying him in practice too. And Likely's earning those reps. And then with what we're doing in the run game, we know Pat's the best blocker out of all of them. And then Kolar is the next best blocker out of all of them. So maybe they're earning those reps because, I mean, quiet as it's kept, I think Likely's the best receiver out of the 4. I think Pat and Kolar are the 2 best blockers out of the 4. So where does that put Mark? Honestly. And I'm not hating on Mark, but that's being real.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's just wild in that I don't think your analysis is wild. I think it's wild to think that we would even be having this conversation, about one Mark Andrews, right? Because him and Lamar seem to have a connection that lasts a decade plus, right? Like their entire career. Now, let's talk about, unless you have something else offensive, Glenn, I do kind of want to talk about the defensive side of the ball.
Sure.
And specifically around I guess this could be offensive and defensive. So the fourth quarter, right? Because the fourth quarter really, we lost 19-0 in the fourth quarter. This is my general question, Coach. What the hell? What is going on here? Anything that
it's a 2-year, 3-year trend we're talking about here.
Yeah. What do you see that's happening?
I have a philosophy, but a lot of people around me and a lot of people I talk to and people that send me messages, they have a different philosophy.
Okay.
So my philosophy is the offense needs to find a way to stay on the field and help the defense out. The defense, I feel like the defense stays on the field too much and they get tired and they get worn out and then they start giving up big plays. People around me seem to think that, and part of what they think is true, because the defense is where all the money is spent. That's where all the top tier players are. That's where the top paid players are. They should just suck it up and get off the field. I seem to think they both need to help each other out. I think the offense just can't continually go out there and go 3 and out. You can't run for 2 yards, run for 2 yards, run for 2 yards, then punt. then expect the defense to go out there and get you a stop. You got to go out there and get a couple first downs. Let them guys go over there, get their oxygen, come back out there and be fresh, and then, do whatever they do. You got to stay on the field and let them get some kind of break, or go down there and score and put more pressure on the other team. But I mean, it's a team game. They got to work together. But I personally feel, as an offensive coach, we got to stay on the field and keep putting pressure on the other team. And they just seem to change their play calling when they have a lead. They seem to feel like, okay, we got this lead. Let's run the ball. Let's run the clock, and let's try to survive. In my mind, I feel like I'm trying to choke you out. Mm-hmm. If I'm calling the play, I'm trying to choke you out till you blue in the face. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to do what the Dolphins did to the Broncos. What was that, last year?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to score 70.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's with backups or third stringers, I'm going down there to the clock say 0. And then when that last under 2 minutes, that's when I worry about kneeling or just running or whatever. But until then, I ain't changing the way I'm calling plays at all, because anything can happen. This game is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they changed the way they call plays. I think Harbaugh is more like this. I got to keep this sportsmanship thing going, because I don't want nobody to blow me out when they get a chance. So I'm gonna pull off the gas and be this friendly guy. And it almost bites him in it does bite him in the butt most of the time. This time we just held on. And so I think we get off the gas for some strange reason. And this time we just were lucky that they didn't get that 2-point conversion, and we were able to kind of, hang on and whatnot, because their kicker, if their kicker would have had a chance, he was kicking them things from Fort Worth. So I knew if he would have got a chance, he was going to knock it down.
100% right.
Yeah, that guy's been, I think I saw, if he was a receiver, he'd be the 4th best receiver as far as fantasy football. That kicker, Aubrey. That's how many points that guy's already scored for them. He looks like he might be the best kicker right now in football. I did want to get your take on the Yannick Ngakoue signing. Do you think this is just purely, hey, low risk, doesn't cost us a lot of money to kick the tires on him? Or do you feel like there's a concern growing about the edge group and the pass rush?
My facial expression is not for you guys.
Oh, okay.
It's the Braves kicking my mitts.
I'm watching the Yankees trying to slam the door on my Orioles, so believe me, I know the feeling.
I think it's a different defense than when Yannick was here the first time. Yannick was here under that wink system, and he did not fit that at all. I think he'll be a better fit for what we got going on now. And again, I heard you mention it before I got on. He wasn't a run stuffer now, but we don't necessarily need him for that now. I think we can put him in pass rush situations and let him just get after the passer, which is what he's done all his career. Because Wink had him trying to stop the run, and he was getting blasted. He was not here for that. He was not any good at that. He wasn't as good as me trying to stop the run at this age. And so put him in on 3rd and long or 3rd downs and let him rush the passer and get after it. Because we're really trying to get after the passer with 4. We're not trying to blitz as much for whatever reason, or is not trying to blitz that much. And we got one of the guys that, like a lot of people, the cross chop is one of his moves. And a lot of people in the NFL are trying to emulate him, because he kind of, I ain't gonna say he perfected it, but he's the reason a lot of people do it. And so just let him get after the passer, and I'm cool with it, because he's probably making next to nothing. I'm sure he's probably a vet minimum.
Yeah.
And it cost us Joe Evans, who I think probably would have never played.
Right.
I think Joe Evans' best characteristic was shooting them jumpers in the training room. So to me, it cost us next to nothing. I think Tavius Robinson is going to be the one that. I think Tavius Robinson is going to be the one that's hurt.
Well, yeah. I guess he'll still get his rundowns, but his pass rush snaps are probably about to take a pretty big hit there. What's your take on Marcus Williams? He's one of the lowest graded safeties in all of football, despite being one of the highest paid. It's having some fans saying, why isn't Ardarius Washington playing more often with the ball skills he was displaying? Do you think, because this is supposed to be a better version of Marcus, a healthier version than what we saw last year, where he was virtually running around with one arm, what's going on with Marcus Williams, and is this something he can turn around?
I don't see where Marcus is really playing bad, but I don't see him making plays either. I don't see him like being impactful on defense, but I don't see him hurting us. But I do see Ardarius making plays. So that's why it seems as though Ardarius, but it don't seem as though Ardarius is making plays. You see him with PBUs and making tackles and all that stuff. But I don't think they play the same position. I think Marcus is more so like that last line of defense. So he's going to be in the play if something else breaks down. Where Ardarius is close to the line of scrimmage and more so, in man more. And so he gets a chance to show his ball skills and do other things. And so that's why Ardarius shows up more like visually during the game because they play in a different role. Now, when I start seeing Marcus get beat in coverage, I can say that. But I think they're playing different positions, doing different jobs. And I don't think Marcus is playing terrible, but Ardarius has definitely earned the some more snaps. I will say that because he's flashing a lot when he's in the game. Definitely.
Yeah. No, he is. Sometimes, I mean, Glenn and I have been high on him from the jump. We had a TCU guy on that played safety at TCU and is now a commentator over there, and he said that he was going to be the better. I'm going to remember this guy's name. Gosh dang it, Glenn. Who was the tandem he was with at TCU?
Oh, Trevor
Moehrig.
Yeah.
He said that he said when we took Ardarius that Ardarius was going to have the better career than Moehrig, and I think I about fell out of my chair. Now I was excited to hear it. But it's like Moehrig, I think, was a high second rounder, and some people had him projected in the first, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Ardarius goes undrafted. And man, every time he's on the field, you said it, Coach, he seems to make plays, seems to be getting better, seems to be getting more comfortable. He's getting more physical in his game. I'm not that he wasn't physical before, but it seems to be the right speed for him to allow for more physicality. It's exciting stuff. So I'm excited to see how that turns out there. But I got to ask you about the corners right now, and either you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Marlon Humphrey is our most targeted corner. I think that our corners stepped up and played a big game. Now, like I said, 19-0 in the fourth quarter, bad. But I think as far as them being, close to these guys, Brandon Williams getting his head around and things like that. Did you see what type of game did you see out of Marlon? Anything that got you feeling positive? And feeling like they kind of took a step forward because they were kind of getting a lot of heat those first two losses, rightfully so.
I saw something on NFL Pro where Marlon was targeted 17 times and he's given up 13 catches. So for like 113 or something like that. So, how you take that number, how you feel. And I don't know what the average is. So, but I didn't look at the average. So, that's 17 out of 13. Don't sound like a good number, but I don't know what the average is either. I think it said he gave up 1 or 2 touchdowns, maybe 1. But as far as the corners from this Cowboys game, Wiggins was the liability. Brandon and Marlon seemed to do what they were there to do. Wiggins seemed to be the liability. And for some strange reason, they kept sticking Wiggins one-on-one with CD. And I know I was telling the chat, if they keep doing that, and they did it right before halftime, I'm going to throw this ball to CD Lamb every time that I see him and Wiggins one-on-one, because there is no reason that a rookie, I don't care what round he's drafted in, I don't care if he was the first pick, there is no reason a rookie should be one-on-one with CD Lamb because of how good of a receiver he is. There's no rookie in the NFL that's going to guard CD Lamb consistently one-on-one. And there's no shade to any rookie. Let's just look at what CD Lamb has done. Look at his body of work. No rookie's gonna guard that dude one-on-one. So if I look over there and see, hey, it's one-on-one with CD Lamb, if I'm Dak, I am changing the play. I don't care what you say, coach. I see a rookie with my top 3-4 receiver, I'm gonna take my chances over there. And if you take me out, screw you. I make more money than you. You're gonna get fired, not me.
Yeah, CD is definitely one of the top 3 receivers, 3 or 4 in the league. And that's a tall task for Wiggins. But hey, he got that big strip that really, somebody call it lucky, whatever. But
that's football.
That changed the game right there. So got to give him credit. And I'm expecting him to certainly grow from this experience. Now, Kyle Hamilton seemed to have his most active, most physical game, had his career high in tackles. Do you think this is something where he's just needs to continue to get healthier from some sort of an injury that he's been nursing, and that's why he maybe wasn't splashing or showing up a lot in the first couple?
No, I still think they were dealing with communication issues. Them getting used to or getting used to them. And I think they got better, even though that 19-0 I still think that first half was more so what we're gonna see out of them. I think they're getting their communications down because we still not blitzing that much. And once we get all our communication coverages down together and whatnot, I think we'll start to blitz more. I think they're because I seem to think they didn't change some verbiage. That's why we're not having the communication. I think they didn't change some verbiage, change some stuff around. That's why we having the miscommunication issues, because you'll see when people make plays or make mistakes or whatever, they'll turn around and be fussing at each other, trying to see. So I think he's changed. My bad. I think he's changed a lot of what Mike, maybe not the calls or the actual plays, but I think the verbiage has changed, and they're still trying to figure out like what like pilot may mean something, or they just change the words. And once they get that down pat, I think they'll go back to playing as fast, playing as physical, and then start doing all that exotic stuff that they used to do. I think they're just playing basic, they playing vanilla, and trying to get the fundamentals down, and then they'll go back to what they're doing.
Man, that's got.
I don't think Kyle was hurt though. I don't.
Right. All right. And now the other thing I want to ask about from a coaching standpoint is the penalties. The penalties. Another 13 penalties. Now we do have a graphic up. I'm asking DK to do some gymnastics here because he had another graphic up that I'm totally changing on him. But I think this is pretty interesting. I was looking at this before we started the show. I think this is called the blessed by the refs graph.
Yeah, I was looking at that before we got on too.
Yeah, the Ravens are 32nd in the league. So the Ravens have a net, and shout out to Sarah Ellison for reposting this. The guy at the bottom of that, DK, has...
Click on that, click on the graph itself, and maybe so we can see it a little
bit. From Joseph Hefe. There we go. Yeah, actually, sorry, really quickly, though. I just want to read her description so everybody kind of understands the way that this thing works. If you go back, DK, sorry, and then we'll blow this thing up. It says the Ravens have a differential of -16 in penalties and negative 174 yards in penalty yards compared to their opponents. That differential, without a doubt, plays to their 1-2 record. Okay, so what this shows is that differential in yards and number of penalties.
I'll tell you one play in particular from the Raiders game that changed that game. The pass interference on Brandon Stevens that put them on the 1 yard line against Devontae. That one play, which was probably about a 30-40 yard penalty, that changed that game. The trying to think of the one play from the Kansas City game that changed them, that probably helps us out to win that game. So it's two calls definitely that makes a huge difference, and that's probably about 50-60 yards. And it still probably would have us last, but that's the difference of us being 3-0 and maybe being 1-2.
Yeah. I mean, you knew it was going to go that way with the Kansas City game, right? It's like fighting a heavyweight. All you can do is you can knock him out, right? Because it comes to the scorecard, then you're going to
champ's going to keep it.
Yeah. So the refs and everybody else is going to keep them at the top as much as they can. Not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying it's a thing in boxing. I think it's a thing in football, just like closeout games in the NBA or another thing, right? So that's the only way you really win that one. But certainly these last few games have been rough. What say you, Coach, about the self-inflicted stuff? Really, my question is there something they can do to change this, or are we just in for a year-long trend of a penalty-ridden team?
It depends on the self-inflicted stuff, the false starts, the illegal formations, all that stuff. The coach gonna have to do something about. The effort penalties, ain't nothing you can do about. The effort penalties, like your face mask, your holdings.
Oh, that roughing one, Coach, almost had me falling out of my chair.
That was bull.
Like, that's the most classic tackle I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was he had him in the hidden zone, and he didn't throw like his shoulder in it, or he didn't take extra steps. That was one of those teach tape tackles.
Yeah,
and he got a roughing on it, I think, is that the one when Lamar told the ref stop cheating us?
Yeah, screamed into the mic.
And I don't know what the Ravens have done to warrant that.
Why do they hate us?
But it seems to be obvious that somebody has PO'd somebody. It seems to be obvious.
I think maybe what it was is Lamar's MVPs weren't on the script. They weren't part of the script.
I think somebody hates John Harbaugh. I think somebody hates
that.
Man. I think they can't stand that dude because some of these penalties are just like, and then the non-grounding off of some odd technicality. I don't even understand that. Like, because a guy actually caught it. If that's not becoming a trend going forward in the league, like if you're about to be tackled and you're
throw it to your O-lineman,
just throw it to your O-lineman. Let him catch it. It'll mitigate the penalty call. Like, that's.
To hear that they actually told him it's not intentional grounding because the offensive lineman caught it, I would have lost my marbles.
Yeah,
you know, like in NBA when your coach get a tech, I would have had to get the equivalent to whatever a football tech is when they told me that I would have lost my mind. You would have had to kick me out or give me my 2 points, some kind of way. You would have had to pull your rule book out to show me that.
Yeah, that was a wild thing. You know what? You might be right, Glenn. The Hardballs do not seem to be the type of people that you can be warm about. You either like them.
Hold on. Somebody said I gave false information. I don't lie, cuz. Let me go pull it up.
I saw that.
Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna pull this up.
I was trying to pull it up too, just because I saw that comment. Okay.
Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the Hardballs seem to be people you're probably not warm on, right? You either like them or you really don't. They're pretty opinionated people, pretty boisterous people. So you're either with them or you ain't. And you know what? I don't think the Hardballs really mind that either. I think they're kind of built that way. So you're right, Glenn. There might be somebody up there that's like, you know what? I don't really like the Hardballs.
I just thought that his brother would be the more hated one. You know,
right? Especially after the Michigan thing.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't. So the thing is that it's a distance thing, right? So like John's just been wearing on him, where Jim went away.
I guess that's
a good
point.
He went away for a little bit. Give it a couple years.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Right. I got my numbers in front of me.
All right, let me see.
All right. So game 1 versus the Chiefs, he was targeted 4 times, gave up 4 receptions. That's 4 for 4, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So game 2 versus the Raiders, targeted 9 times, gave up 7 receptions.
Okay.
That's 11 for 13. Game 3 versus the Cowboys, targeted 4 times, gave up 2 receptions. So that's 13 plus 4, that's 17 receptions or targets, and then receptions 11 plus 2 is 13. So get your facts right, cuz.
My man.
I'm sitting there looking at it.
My man, trying to call you out. Man, it's got receipts.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Hold on.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
Let me see. Settings.
Should be able to hit present. Yeah.
Share screen.
You just pick the
tab. It took me a little while. There we go. I love it. Yeah. Go touch some grass. I love it.
That is right there.
Yep.
That is right on your screen right there, buddy.
Yeah.
At the top where it say targets and reception.
Yeah. I mean, look, I hate to say it, but Marlon has been targeted very frequently. I don't think he's been playing as poorly as some has been, but let's be honest. Him and Brandon Stevens both struggle to find the ball when it's thrown over their head. Like they just struggle to turn and locate the ball and make a play on it. Marlon always has when the ball is thrown over his head. Maybe if he's backpedaling, he's able to plant and drive. Maybe then he can get his hands on the ball. But if he has to look over his shoulder, he ain't making a play on the ball. And I love Marlon, but it just ain't happening.
Now those numbers don't mean those were deep balls. That could have been a hitch. That could have been a 2-yard hitch. That could have been a screen. That could have been a slant where the dude caught it for 1 yard, made a tackle. Just because it's a catch in front of him don't mean it was a 20-yard bum. It could have been a 1 yard screen.
Yeah, that don't necessarily mean it had the yards. You said it had the yards given up too?
It did. I'd close it out.
So for 13, but it was like 13 catches and it was only like 100.
Like 113. It wasn't a lot.
So that's not that crazy when you think about some of the top receivers and what their average yards per reception is. It's up near 20. It's like 18, 19. Right. Marlon's been giving up, 9 yards?
Something like that, yeah.
And obviously he's been very supportive coming up, helping, tackling at the line of scrimmage.
And he's been playing the slot a lot too, which is where I think he's the best at.
Yeah.
They started the game off. He started the game off in the slot. They started the game off with Wiggins outside, Brandon Stevens outside, him in the slot. and Kyle and Marcus and at the safeties, which I think is the best lineup. I personally think that's the best lineup.
Now, also quickly before we move on from this defense, the highest graded, I think I remember correctly, the highest graded defender, or at least one of, was Trenton Simpson. What are you seeing out of him as he continues to kind of grow into his role? Have you been impressed with him so far?
Yeah, I really like the progression of Trent. I think what's this, game 3? I think by game 6 or 7, he's gonna be one of those guys. Once the game really slows down and he keys in on his reads and everything's not on his face, and the pullers slow down to him and he can see things happening and he can just read and react and not have to think as much, because his natural speed and instincts gonna take over. That dude, he's gonna be one of the ones, and I think it's gonna be. He could probably be an all-star this year. Probably could be an all-star this year, depending on how people don't go to Pro Bowl and do the same way Snoop kind of got in.
Yeah,
he might get in that kind of way, and then next year he can be like a dude. But I think like the back half of this year, he's gonna be really good, because I think he's still part of the reason why the communication things are going on, because he's learning as well. Not only is he learning the verbiage, he's learning the speed of the game and trying to, where does he fit in this system. And once they get all that down, and I think they're getting better at it, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good because they got a lot of good pieces out there. And the more they can get better and rush with 4, the better they'll be. And I hope Ngakoue helps with that. The less we got to blitz, the better we can be on the back end.
Yeah. The way I see it, preseason's officially over.
Yes.
And it's time to rock now, right? But Coach, I gotta ask you a general question about this team. The last time Glenn wasn't here, and the day after, him and I were kind of talking about it, and I was talking to him about the show and stuff. And I felt like, at that point where and you can correct me wrong, but I feel like your headspace was you were nervous about our prospects for the rest of the season, is I think the way I would say it, right? Does this game in general do anything for you to help you feel better about the rest of the season now and the potential that we do have in making a playoff push and going where we want to go? Does this game do anything for you to move the needle?
Yes, the play calling changed offensively. And even if we're going to run those same 5 out there, the play calling gave me promise to think that we can, despite what we feel about those 5. And again, they played better. And if they play better next week, that's good. And if they play better the week after that, they're good. And they'll eventually be to the point where they may not be an issue. As long as they keep playing better, that's fine by me. But the play calling really helped them out. And eventually we'll get to the point where people will have to worry about the run so much that we'll start getting deep shots. And once we start getting deep shots, the sky's the limit for this offense. Because we did that we didn't hit I can't remember a deep pass. We got a long run off of a little screen to Nelly. We hadn't hit nothing deep yet. I can't remember a ball thrown over the top of the defense yet. And we running the ball like crazy. When have, like the Saints, when the Saints played the Cowboys a week before, they were running the ball like crazy, but they got like 3 or 4 deep balls over the Cowboys' head. We didn't.
Yep.
So whenever we start getting that play action game, which we only ran like 2 or 3 times, our offense will be unlocked. And I still think the guy to do that, he hadn't even dressed out yet.
Who's that?
And that's Tejas.
Okay. All right. I think some people are getting excited about Keaton Mitchell's potential return. He's posted.
Me too.
He hit over 20 mile an hour. That's it's exciting. But to your point, this is something we've been screaming about on this show. I just don't understand the lack of play action. I don't know if I'll ever understand it. When you look here, under center play action, right down the center here, 9%. Look at the Saints, 25%. How have the Saints been playing this year? I don't understand the lack of, especially like you mentioned, when you're running the ball so damn well, you're doing the hard part. You're setting it up to where you can do the easy part, which is play action pass and get wide open throwing lanes. And I just don't understand it.
We're at 9%. That's us, 9%.
9%. Yeah, I was trying to
I see
blow this up a little bit better. But just not not where I want to be. I mean, especially when you look at some of the more successful teams in the league, they're doing it at a much higher clip. So I just hope that they can figure a way to incorporate more play action pass. But quickly, last thing from me, Coach, is about the special teams. I mean, we talked about all these years. This team's been top 10 in special teams every single year. Now, another hooked left kick. And then I think more egregious, more frustrating, he gave up a damn onside kick. How the hell does Coach Harbaugh supposed to be a special teams guy? We go out there, we know they're onside kick. They tell us, and we still give it up. Like, what the hell is going on with our special teams, Coach? Are you concerned about Justin Tucker? Like, what are we doing here on special teams, Coach?
First off, Zay has never played shortstop in his life. he never fielded a short hop. He never been taught to get his body in front of it, let it bounce off his chest, or none of that.
No.
He's been strictly a football player all his life, all hands. Any baseball player know to get your body in front of that ball, let it bounce off your chest and cover it up.
Like a catcher.
Like exactly. Yep. But Zay's just a football player. But as far as that's the way the ball bounces, especially if you got a guy that the way he kicked it, it was a perfect kick.
Mm-hmm.
It squibbed left on Zay when he tried to cover it. And sometimes that stuff happened. But as far as Tucker, I'm not really sure what's going on with I ain't ready to give up on him just yet. But I'm hoping he don't have the yips, man. I'm hoping he don't. But I ain't ready to give up on him just yet. But he on the verge. He is on the verge. He's done so much good for the team that I'll give him. I give him a little grace period. Now this other young cat, the punter, you don't have that rope. You don't have the same rope that Tucker got. Your rope is significantly shorter than Justin Tucker. But so he did good this week. But last week when he shanked that punt, you can't have too many shank punts, like for real. But Tucker, because of his lineage and what he's done over a longer period of time, he gets a little more grace than Stout. But
I'm starting to think, I don't know about you guys, but I know this happens at least in soccer. Sometimes a guy can get, when you get so good, you get obsessed with like an upper 90s shot, right? Like you don't want to just score. You want to score nicely, right? Glenn, okay. So there you go. There's another example. So like I feel like Tuck always does that. He tries to put it in that bottom left pocket. I feel like that's always his spot. And if he's having like a technique issue, maybe he's, and I know if he's kicking it cross that way, I understand it's like, a technique and things like that, but it seems to be an issue. Like hit it straight, hit it true, dude. Like that's what we want to see, because it seems to be he's getting a little too fixated on that specific shot. So hopefully it's a small fix and he can certainly fix it. But I'm with you, Coach. To me, he's got some leeway. And I'm not ready to.
He hasn't missed the winner yet, right? Like,
right.
If he starts smoking game winners, then he might have the. It's like who was it? Oh my goodness, Vanderjack, back from the Colts. He was the most accurate in history. He missed one game winner, and he couldn't make a damn kick to save his life after that because he got the yips. And more commonly a baseball term where a guy just can't throw the ball to home base. I remember that catcher.
To the pitcher.
Yeah, just couldn't do it. And then there was a pitcher, I think he played for the Yankees, could not throw the ball to first base. Just couldn't do it. Like he could put it, he could hit the flies off of the wings off a fly's back at the catcher's mitt, but he can't turn and toss it to the first baseman. Yeah, it's kind of strange here. Kevin says, Glenn, you said the key to the Super Bowl, play action. Coach, how does a team that's been number one in rushing all these years or all these Lamar years and don't run play action?
Yeah, we've been number one all these years and didn't get on the center.
Yeah.
So that's the Lamar effect. It's the Lamar effect. It's hard to explain, but a lot of those yards come from Lamar dropping back and then doing his thing and then the quarterback run game. But again, Lamar can do so much more than a lot of these other quarterbacks. And I still don't think we've seen the best version of Lamar. Lamar has won MVP twice, and I still don't think we've seen like a maxed out Lamar yet.
Because wasn't that run, his touchdown run, wasn't that on a bootleg? Wasn't that on a play action? He just walked into the end zone?
The one this week?
Yeah.
No, it was zone read.
Oh, was it zone read? Okay.
And he had a lead blocker out there with Likely.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, them tight ends blocked on the edges this week, boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did. Kevin says, I don't understand. Play action, bootlegs, rolls off, all off the run. Roman didn't do it. Monken won't stick with it. I don't understand. I guess it falls on Harbaugh. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one who has the vision for both offense and defense. And yeah, it's just head scratching. It's like when they take a quarterback who has some athleticism, like, man, imagine this guy in a bootleg. Imagine this guy, get him outside the pocket, get him moving. We got Lamar freaking Jackson. What are we doing? Like,
he's done more with less than any quarterback I can ever imagine I would say I'm 47 in my adult years of watching football. The years that I can say I've like really honed in and paid attention, and he's done more with less than anybody I've ever paid attention to.
Yep.
He won an MVP with guys that bag groceries for receivers,
right?
Other than Mark.
Yeah, and a banged up rookie Hollywood, right?
Right.
I mean, he was a rookie. That dude wasn't even. He still had his college weight. He wasn't even an NFL player yet. You know what I mean?
He was coming off the Liz Frank too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, coming off injury, not even practicing during the week, and much different player than he is now. Coach, I think that's all for us tonight. We appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Yep.
Thank you so much. As always, why don't you let the folks know where they can find you? Of course, we always shout you out, but why don't you let them know? If they don't know already, because if they don't, that's kind of their fault. But
you can find me on Twitter at Coach Evans9 and in the YouTube streets at Sip2Tally Films.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Coach. Hey, shout out to Ramon Arias. Just hit a bomb into the bullpen.
Did he?
Keeping the season's hopes alive for the Orioles. Holy 5-footer.
What are those hopes like these days? I haven't been following this closely because we're not there to go to the game.
Look, it's just win, baby. You got to beat the Yankees. You got to sweep
How
the
far
Yankees
are we back?
in New York. I'll be honest, Jimbo. I've been so upset. It's like I can't even look at it. I can't look at it because, dude, we were like the best team over the last year and a half, and then we just, I don't know what happened. We're below 500 since we hit like 20 games above.
6 games back is what DK is saying.
Jesus Christ. How did that happen so fast, bro? They suck.
Oh, they suck. Let's see. Mossy says, Bills for real, ranked #1 team after week 3, most difficult game this season. Also, Mahomes not happy with his performance despite being unbeaten. I mean, I think the Bills are for real. I think that's undeniable. Oh, yeah. And this is going to be an extremely tough test for us. We get very little breaks this year, and this certainly isn't going to be one of them. So, to your point, I think the most difficult game.
They're the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the most difficult game for us. And I will say, as respect to us, I think this will be the most difficult game for them thus far this year.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I mean, here's what they did, Jimbo. They got Josh Allen a run game.
They did. Yep.
Like,
look, they learned
for real run game, bro.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like, the value is, I mean, look at the 2019 Lamar and look at all the value that he got out of that run game. Now, he was a focal point of that run game, but Josh is similar in that he's a dual threat quarterback. And so sometimes, look, teams seem to be learning. Sometimes it's not about the weapons you have on the exterior, but it is building from the inside out, right? So it's all about what's on the inside that counts, right? The O-line, the running attack. The outside is just window dressing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they got rid of Diggs and said, you know what? We're going to get rid of Dorsey. We're going to recommit to a run game, and they have been unbelievable.
Well, and they lost Gabe Davis.
Yeah, they lost Gabe Davis. They replaced him with Keon Coleman, who, he just had his first touchdown last week. Rashid Shaheed is just unbelievable. The guy catches every deep ball thrown his way. Dalton Kincaid, I mean, no surprise to you here, Jimbo. Dalton
of course not.
Is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
And then their defense, I mean, they're unbelievable. Like, they are. This is going to be a massive, massive test. I absolutely cannot wait to see it. And also, if you guys have an opportunity, you will not have a better presentation than what's happening in Baltimore this weekend. Sunday night, blackout game. Like, it's going to be, if you can go to one game, this is probably the game you're going to want to go to. Not only is it the potential, biggest threat in the AFC, them and the Chiefs certainly, but also it's a Sunday night game in Baltimore. It's going to be lit in there. I always, if you can only go to one game, it's the Sunday night games or the one you should go to second, maybe Thursday night.
Yeah.
Never get a Monday night game in Baltimore, so I won't even put that in the rankings. But dude, this is going to be a big, if we can beat the Bills, Jimbo, watch out.
Look out, dude, because, yeah, I couldn't agree with you 100%. Sorry, you said blackout. My camera heard you and my light heard you and decided to turn off. So Doomgoy94 says, Harbs has lived long enough to see himself become the villain. The talent is constantly squandered by this coaching staff. Imagine if an Andy Reid was head coach. I mean, I think you could say that about any team, though. That's the only thing. I mean, Andy's had his times where he struggled, too. He got ran out of Philadelphia, didn't win a Super Bowl there, didn't pull the truck up the hill. And think about how much talent he had in Philadelphia. Didn't they call one of his team renditions the Dream Team? Right? Like, so I understand your point. I do think John's a lot to blame, but it's a long season. As a good friend of mine once said, it's a long race. It's a long race. And so who knows what the narrative will be halfway through the season? Who knows what the narrative will be after this Bills game? I think maybe we're all eating a little bit of crow. Who knows? Maybe, possibility.
Maybe. If they come around and beat the Bills, yeah.
Look out, So, definitely the last thing definitely keep your eyes on that. But the last thing I got to say, DK, do we have another super chat?
That's a Batman quote, by the way. You live long enough to see yourself become the
Bill. Oh, right. You are right. But, dude, that's what I was going to ask you before Coach hopped on. How about Andy Dalton, bro?
Dude.
Wheeling and dealing, dude.
Bro. I thought the Panthers were the worst team I've ever seen. Turns out it was just Bryce Young is the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
How much of an indictment?
Dude.
Is he done? Like, is that nail in the coffin for Bryce?
Well, I think he's done in Carolina. I think what we've seen Sam Darnold do shows that the situation matters, and he is not a fit there. Got to get, heck no. But the good thing is I was able to pick up Deontay Johnson. So
there you go. There you go.
That dude was separating. The only person to separate more than Rashad Bateman is Deontay Johnson, and he was doing even less because he had Bryce Young throwing the ball. So, yeah, I mean, this is good for Andy Dalton, right? That son of a gun. He's everyone's favorite backup quarterback. Like wherever he's at, everybody's like, put Andy in, dude. He's the best.
Well, I mean, I guess, do you think he's actually a backup? Like, I think he's still.
It depends on which city he's in. I think if he's in Cleveland, he's the starter. I tell you that much.
I mean, there's still some teams where he should be the starter, right?
Yeah.
He's like the Joe Flacco number 2, right, at this point. Like, him and Joe are probably some of the best backups in the league right now. That's wild stuff. All right, let's get to this last super chat before we get to the competition real quick, because we got to wrap this thing up, put it to bed. Mossy says, number 2, McDonald's Seahawks undefeated. Wish he was our head coach for the Ravens. Also a clown show. Raiders are players giving up versus Panthers. The L last week, even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anytime you lose to a team, you want that team to end up showing themselves to be a good team. Certainly in college basketball and football, it ends up being that way. You don't want a big win and then that team tanks and it makes that win useless. But yeah, I bet Antonio Pierce was pretty pissed at his Raiders that day.
Yes. I mean, I heard the clips from some of his presser and it was like, whoo, bad news. All right, let's do this. DK.
All right, let's get into our competition here, ladies and gentlemen, to see if I can continue my run of domination after winning last week. Let's get into it. First one of the over.
Oh, DK, no video? No. Okay.
He didn't want to get his hit.
Go ahead, Glenn. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's all good. Rashad Bateman receptions. He sets it at 2.5. They end up getting he ends up getting 3 receptions, so he hits the over. Jimmy, you said under. I said over. DK said over. Brad said over.
I thought it was 3.5. DK, did you change this?
Oh man, dude, he's accusations, bruh. Accusations.
I swear I thought this was 3.5.
You should be offended.
No, look, I'd take DK's word for it, but
it doesn't seem like it. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, Jimbo.
Hey, good for Rashad Bateman.
Like see me right. All right. And I was right about this one, but let's move on to the next one. Ravens receiving long, 37.5.
I was right about this one though, right?
You were. I was the only one who missed this one. And let me just say this. they threw a damn 6-yard out or whatever it was, and he just makes a guy miss and
I think I even
ass.
said that's how it was going to be if you go back in the show.
Yep. Well, you got me because I was thinking, like Coach said, we haven't seen a ball go over someone's head and be caught.
Yeah.
Well, turns out that wasn't what was needed this week.
Nope.
So I was wrong. Everyone else is right. All right, next one. Defensive. Cowboys receiving long, 37.5 yards was the number. They hit a 24-yarder, so this was under as well. And once again, I was wrong. Once again, Jimmy was right. But he was the only one right on this one. DK and Brad both said over.
This show, only faithful fan here.
I can see where this is heading, and I don't like it. I don't like this at all. After coming out the gate strong, I see how this ended. But number 4, Ravens passes defensed.
Oh yeah, you also went under on this.
Why would I put under there? Like,
Glenn, because you're a closet Cowboys fan.
We had 9 PPUs, like not even close.
No.
I was a Cowboys fan in 1995. Okay, I was a big Cowboys fan. All right,
hey,
but
well,
yeah,
the world is right again. We all have a win right now. 3 weeks in, 1-1-1. So we all have total. Sorry, first tiebreaker.
Hold on, DK, and you are tied right now, right?
Oh, for real? See, dang. See, I think I got the victory already. Jeez, a whiz. All right, go
ahead. You can be excited because we go into the tiebreaker, and
all right.
You're the only one that got the tiebreaker right.
All right.
And you know what? Let me just say this: you were on line to look horrible in this one until the Ravens decided to lose the fourth quarter, 19-0.
Oh, I know. I was thinking about that. You're talking about the total points here.
Yeah, we were 28-6. It looked like not even close to the over.
I know. Yeah.
Dude, you know these over, we always talk about how good they are and how on point they are. I don't know if you saw this, but like, I think it was last game or it was 2 games ago. Pat Mahomes, the rushing line was at like 25 yards over under. He had 37. When he kneeled it out, Jimbo, he did that thing where you kind of run backwards to burn more clock. Yeah. He went -5. Next play, -4. Next one, -4. He goes under.
Oh.
After being well over, he kneels backwards 15 yards to lose the over-under. People are going, what the hell?
My gosh. Only in the NFL.
That was weird. The way he did it was, I mean, that's a lot of yards to go backward 3 kneel downs.
That is a lot.
And then the tiebreaker, the final tiebreaker, yards closest to the pin. I was once again dead last. Brad was first, but it didn't matter anyway. Jimmy is this week's champion. Congratulations, Jimmy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Everybody has a win, so we're all tied.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's
all right.
get it.
Well, Brad doesn't win.
Yeah, that's true.
Win. Yeah. Well, we can only have 3 winners so far. Next week, it's Brad's turn, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess.
Now, we have to get into our viewer competition as well. We have a new winner this week. DK, let's put this bad boy up. First time winner, Rashawn Jones. 4 out of 4. Make sure you DM us, Rashawn, please. Or if it's Rayshawn, I think that might be what it is. But either way, DM us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, wherever you have your social media and have access to sending us a message. Please do, and we will send out a shirt your size to your address. Make sure you do not put your address in a public place like in the comments on YouTube.
Please.
Yes, please don't do that. But I think that's I want to put this up real quick. Don C, my guys, I'm hitting the replay coming in late night.
You had a couple beers? You've been out with DK, Don C?
I know. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you slurred off at the end there, dude. I think he's been taking tequila shots with DK.
That's awesome. Well, look, Dante, we appreciate you as always, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your evening. Thank you so much.
Good luck to Lisa Ann as well. Good luck to Lisa Ann. Hope everything goes well. I know, today was the first day of a long journey, but
one step at a time, one fight at a time.
That's right, no doubt.
Look, and just so you guys know, Glenn's gonna be running the ship and DK solo on our preview show for next week. I will be out of the office, but I appreciate them taking over for me. But with all that being said, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We got to give it the old Ravens call and make sure we're giving ourselves enough time that live gets to see it. But that's it for us tonight, folks.
See you.